Today in this video, we're going to talk about how procrastination comes in the form of overeducation and thinking that you're going to find the answer before you need to take action. Fear of failure and making mistakes that you want to avoid is going to help you in school by learning more, by gathering more information. But in the real world outside of traditional education, you need to be a disaster before you can become a master. You have to be cringe before they will binge. So you have to gain a lot of reference experiences and take a tremendous amount of action in the thing that you want to accomplish, because there's no better way to learn than by trial and error, making a bunch of different mistakes and failing forward. The key is to just start. Just do it already. Stop taking notes and start taking action. Your procrastination comes in the form of overeducation. You only need a limited amount of knowledge to actually get started on the thing that you want to do. You're too much in search mode and you think it's going to make it easier. So stop hiding behind the process of learning and start taking action on the thing that you need to do. Start messing up and stop thinking that doing it wrong is bad. You've been conditioned at a young age with taking tests, taking notes, gathering all the information. There's no checklist that you need to follow for success. And taking notes and educating yourself endlessly is going to help you on tests, and it's going to help limit fear when it comes to test anxiety because you have the information. But in the real world, it doesn't really work like that. The info you need to get started is very limited. When I was learning how to skateboard, I could do a couple of tricks. I wasn't very good. The story is, I thought I could be really good at doing a half pipe because I knew how to skateboard. I figured I could just do it. And I really realized that I couldn't, because I tried it for the first time and took a bad wipeout, and it was a lot harder than I thought. The education didn't get me anywhere. It was the action of taking it and realizing that it was actually really hard to do the thing that I thought, and I actually never got good at the half pipe because it was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. So it comes down to taking the leap of faith, and more information does not translate into less fear in the real world. More info might actually hold you back. And here's the truth. The thing is harder than you thought it would be, because most people start and they really find out that whatever they were trying to accomplish is a lot harder than they thought it would be. They get it in their mind that they can gather all this information and it's going to make it easier somehow. But then they take action and realize, holy shit, this is actually really hard. Now, if you actually took action and you figure out how hard it was, that's better than just gathering all the information and being an overlearner to where you don't even start at all. So you do need to educate yourself a little bit, but taking action and having rubber meet the road is where you're going to learn the most. So the more action you take generates more momentum. You're far less likely to quit if you actually start because you're gaining a little bit momentum. And yes, you've realized that it's hard and it's difficult, but you need to take action because you don't want to be the person that doesn't start at all. The more you research, the less likely you will be to take that action. The reality is, you're scared of what other people might think. They'll laugh at you. They won't understand what you're doing. They'll criticize you. And the fear of what others will think is actually holding you back. You need to have the mindset of progress over perfection. You need to constantly progress towards your goal on a day-to-day basis in order to eventually perfect that craft. Throw a comment below, guys, on what is holding you back from taking action. It's very difficult to know the subject you're talking about versus being able to embody that thing or articulate it properly to become a teacher of that subject. When you're learning a new thing and you actually have it in your head, it's a lot harder to put it into words. For example, you want to teach somebody what you've learned, and then you try to articulate that to somebody, and you find it difficult to maybe find the proper words, and you haven't really gained enough reference experience or taken enough action to become a teacher of that subject. When you're trying to learn a specific sport versus being able to play that sport really well, you can maybe watch that sport, you can educate yourself on it, you can get really familiar with all the different rules and offside and icing and all those things that are involved, let's say, in hockey. But then you try to actually play that sport and you've never taken action on it. You don't know how to skate. You don't know how to stick handle. You don't know how to shoot. So you really learn that gathering all this information didn't really help you in the practical aspect. So the ultimate thing that you can do is have massive discipline, consistency, and actually taking action in the real world on what you actually are trying to achieve. That will help you learn the best way possible. By taking action, by utilizing things in the real world to make those mistakes, to learn the thing that you really want to learn. The real learning comes when you are surprised by something, when something unexpected happens. That's when the learning occurs because you thought differently about the outcome. You didn't really think that thing was going to happen. When you made that mistake and the outcome was different from what you actually anticipated, that's where the real learning occurs. If you planned everything out and you thought everything through and you educated yourself the most possible, and then you took action and it actually all worked out, you didn't really learn anything. You didn't have any gems that you could take away from that action. But when a different outcome occurs from an action, that is where the gems are discovered. Reality must not conform to your expectations in order for learning to happen. The most important thing that we need to realize is that when we make mistakes, that's where the real learning occurs. If reality conforms to your expectations, then you haven't learned anything. If you do something and it goes according to plan, you're not going to learn because your brain doesn't register that as a signal of surprise. Nothing new has happened. Nothing can really rewire your brain in that instance because you already know the outcome and you've anticipated it. So on the contrary, if it doesn't go to plan, your brain registers that as a mistake and you end up learning from that. From there, you have a choice. You can label yourself as a failure because you made a mistake. You can beat yourself up because you're not good enough. Or you could frame it as, this is the process and this is how I'm learning from my mistakes. So next time I take this action, I will have learned from the previous experience. Don't believe your brain if it tells you that you have failed because you made a mistake. Mistakes lead to innovation, more resilience, and learning from your experiences. So here's something called the lean learning method. So it's 3 easy steps. Number 1, identify the next step in your journey. Number 2, gather the minimum amount of information to complete that step. And number 3, take action and complete the step. The key takeaway is that all you need to do is take action. Forget about trying to act like you're studying for a test, where the most information you gather, the better. Shift your thinking into more action and less information gathering. You have to really focus on where the rubber meets the road. Taking action is the one key thing that you're missing that's going to gain you the most reference experiences to learn every single day at the thing that you want to learn. Gathering more and more information is just a form of procrastination, and you're putting it off and putting it off to where you're not taking action and finding the real gems where the real learning occurs. I know it can be really scary to take action on that thing that you're not necessarily good at right now, but over time, you will get good at it. Think of things that you've learned in your life that you're maybe pretty good at right now. There was once a time that you were horrible at it, you didn't know how to do it at all, but you just took action on it. The more action you took when you were learning to drive a car, learn a new sport, read, write, realize that those took years to perfect and years to get really good at, to where it was almost automatic. You get into a car right now, you put your foot on the brake, you start the car, you put it in drive or reverse depending on the orientation of the vehicle, and everything past that is pretty automatic. You've done it so many times that those pathways are wired in your brain to where you don't really even need to think. If something out of the ordinary happens, like a close call or maybe a close collision or something like that, you've definitely seared that into your brain as a learning experience. It surprised you. You didn't expect it to happen. And now you've really learned to double and triple check maybe your blind spots, your shoulder check. So the same thing translates into exactly what you're trying to learn outside of the normal things like driving. The things that you truly want to learn in life take multiple repetitions and multiple trial and error, multiple failures. That's when they say failing forward is key, because what you really want to accomplish in life takes multiple repetitions and endless activity so that you can really bring those new skills that you've practically learned forward and evolve and adapt. When you've really tried to learn something and it gets difficult, you have to stick with it. You have to give it a couple of years at least to know if you're good at it or not, because when you're initially starting out, you're going to A, realize that you're not good at it, and B, you might have a little success at the beginning, so hopefully you do, so that can motivate you and put you in momentum. But then that dip is going to happen where you realize that it's a lot harder than you thought it was going to be. So make sure you power through that dip and realize that if you keep going, the fruits of your labor are on the other side. It might take a couple of years, it may take 10 years. You don't necessarily know the time frame that it's going to take. How long did it take you to learn that specific skill that you're really good at currently? It took a very long time. Maybe it took your whole life. So just know at the beginning, it's going to be harder than you thought. It's going to take more work than you ever thought it was going to. It's going to be very difficult. You're going to make a lot of mistakes. But if you stay consistent and you persevere, you'll very much surprise yourself in the fact that you're going to start to get better, you're going to start to improve, and you're going to start to enjoy it more as you get better at that single thing that you've taken action on. So enjoy the process, focus on discipline and consistency, and just know that you can do it. Ask yourself the question, why not me? Why can't I do it? Why can't you be free? Why can't you choose to do the things that you want to do in life? Well, the basic understanding is that it takes lots of repetitions. It takes not giving up. It takes pushing through a lot of fear and a lot of uncertainty, but just continue to move forward on the thing that you want to do. And I believe in you. You can do it. Start today and have fun. Do it joyfully. Do it like nobody is watching, and make sure that fear doesn't hold you back.